I start the video already shaking my head because Senator John Kennedy didn't just respond to AOC's presidential ambitions, he demolished them, rebuilt them, and demolished them again for fun. His reaction was so brutal, so hilarious, AOC's 2028 campaign probably retired before it even started.
Here now with reaction, Louisiana Senator John Kennedy. Senator, thank you so much for joining us. What comes to mind, what comes to the stomach when you think of AOC running for President of the United States of America?
Well, let me address first your question about dark woke. I think the Democrats are trying to appear more manly. Just a thought, but they may want to consider first getting rid of their man purses and their organic broccoli. Dark woke, light woke, mellow yellow woke, it's still woke. And that's the Democrats' problem. If you believe the polls, Jason, most Americans believe that Republicans aren't perfect, but they think the other side's crazy. They think that Democrats, like Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, have chosen to become what my son would call utter nutters. I mean, you think about it, and think about what the Congresswoman stands for. If you're a Democrat in today's Democratic Party, you're not allowed to fire bad employees, to fire bad teachers. You're not allowed to cut wasteful spending. You're not allowed to deport illegal immigrants. You're not allowed to oppose MS-13. You're not allowed to like cops. You're not allowed to prosecute thieves who steal less than $950. You're not allowed to question vaccines. You're not allowed to oppose sex change operations for minors or transgender people in women's bathrooms or playing women's sports. You're not allowed to oppose critical race theory in our schools. You're not allowed to oppose reading porn to grade schoolers. You're not allowed to oppose racial quotas. But you are required to use certain pronouns and to believe that men can breastfeed. Now, I don't think I'm being unfair. This is what Democrats and Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez now believe. And a charitable interpretation for this kind of behavior does not exist. And the American people look at it and they just want to jump out of a moving car. And that's why Democrats are polling right up there with scalp psoriasis. In terms of the Congresswoman, look, I encourage her to run. I hope she does run. I understand. I listened to her speech. I understand her slogan is going to be "Change begins with a mustard seed," which I think is interesting. I guess if Governor Pritzker runs, his slogan will be, you can have a tummy and still be yummy. I don't know. I just think with the Congresswoman, if you scratch the surface, you get more surface. I don't think she has the intellectual firepower to run a campaign or to be president, but I hope she does.
Kennedy wastes zero time roasting Democrats' new branding strategy. He says if they want to look more manly, maybe they should start by ditching their man purses and organic broccoli. Honestly, this man delivers political commentary the way Gordon Ramsay delivers insults, seasoned, sharp, and devastating. And then he hits them with dark woke, light woke, mellow yellow woke. It's still woke. If woke were a product, this is where it would ask for a refund. Smash subscribe if this already has you laughing. Kennedy goes down the list of Democratic taboos, and it sounds like the rules of a very confusing game show. No firing bad teachers, no stopping petty theft, no criticizing MS-13, no supporting cops, and you better believe a man can breastfeed, or else you're disqualified. By the time he called them utter nutters, I was convinced Democrats hold their meetings in a bouncy castle. Tap subscribe if you love this level of roasting. Then Kennedy says Democratic policies have Americans wanting to jump out of a moving car. We've reached the point where people see a Democrat speech and suddenly develop Olympic gymnastics potential. He compares Democrat polling numbers to scalp psoriasis. Imagine being so unpopular even medical conditions are giving you side-eye. Hit subscribe if you're enjoying the humor. Now this is the part that deserves its own Netflix special. Jason brings up AOC running for president, and Kennedy's smile basically says, "Oh, I've been waiting for this." He practically begs her to run, not because she's qualified, no, but because watching her campaign would be better entertainment than the Super Bowl halftime show. Kennedy says he's actually listened to her speeches and believes her presidential slogan would be, "Change begins with a mustard seed." A mustard seed. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not a slogan. That's something you find on a decorative pillow in a vegan cafe. He then delivers the most savage line of the entire interview: "If you scratch the surface with her, you get more surface." At that point, I was done. This man just described AOC as a human pancake, flat, no depth, and somehow still insisting she's the future of America. And he caps it off saying she doesn't have the intellectual firepower to run a real campaign. Translation: her presidential platform would collapse faster than a Jenga tower in an earthquake. If this segment made you laugh, smash the subscribe button right now. Kennedy wraps up by saying Trump won because he represents hope, common sense, and real-world experience, while Democrats sprinted the other direction into a field of political landmines. He says inflation was man-made, and that man was Joe Biden. Families were gutted like a fish, he says. Honestly, if Biden managed a lemonade stand, we'd have $14 lemonade and still be out of lemons. Tap subscribe if you're loving this breakdown. I close by reminding viewers that Senator Kennedy didn't just speak, he unleashed a comedy masterclass wrapped in political reality. AOC's presidential fantasy? Absolutely torched. Democrats' dark woke makeover? Reduced to ashes. Kennedy, walking out of the studio like a man who just won the heavyweight championship of verbal roasting. Hit subscribe, drop a comment, and get ready. More fiery political takedowns are on the way.